Determination. You're asking determination, and as it relates to upbringing. Uh, very good question. Very good question. I think as I go out and talk to some younger kids, I'll cite a few things that happened while I was playing, while I was growing up, that I think really define how I think or my mindset. And, they really revolve. Two of them revolve around sports. The other one is more of a kind of academic related, but the first one being the idea of choice. I started playing soccer when I was 5 years old, and so you love soccer, or you call it football. So love playing soccer. But I was 5 years old. What have you been doing? You've been running around. You've been playing. You love that. So my first time at playing an organized sport, so my first time. And what happens when you do organized sports is you actually have to practice. And so I was out on the soccer field. My dad was the coach, and he said we were going to have to run a lap. And I'm thinking, I came out here to play soccer. I didn't come out here to run laps.
How was that with your dad coaching you? Could you take him seriously?
Absolutely. But it's still 5 years old, so it wasn't as much it was him saying it as much as it was just had not really experienced anything more than play. Like you play it, not actually train for it. So again, it's 5, but challenged me to run out, and there's numerous accounts that have me kind of crying, kind of not wanting to do it, saying no. I said numerous accounts, but basically I didn't want to do it, and so my dad looked at me and said, hey, you know what, if you don't want to practice, you're not going to play, you can go sit by your mom. And when I went over and sat by her, she basically looked at me and said, hey, you either get out there and practice with your teammates, or you're going to sit with me the whole time. And I take that example. Again, it's 5 years old, but it's very important in terms of the idea of making a choice. So you have to make a choice to go all in. And from playing in the NFL, people always want to look at it from, everybody knew you were going to be so great, and they think of it at that type of level, rather than a 5-year-old level, a 5-year-old playing soccer, and really the idea of really making a choice that my dad and my mom made clear wasn't about how good I was. It wasn't, well, if because you're so good, you need to make a choice to get out there, or you're terrible, so you're gonna have to work if you're ever gonna want to play anyway.
That wasn't defined yet at that point.
It didn't matter. Like that wasn't part of it. It was really, if you're gonna be, if you're gonna be a part of something, you have to go all in. You make a choice. You don't negotiate it.
So it's all or nothing.
You're going to go all in. Now you need to find out what the rules are and everything and what is expected. But right from the beginning, you're going to have to make a choice. Are you going to be in? And it's important to be able to do that. So you're not creating right from the beginning, creating outs. You have to make up your mind. What are you willing to do?
Do you think that has to do with training yourself to have intention?
Absolutely.
To know why you're doing something?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it comes with understanding what you're getting yourself into. And so now you have a complete, you have a comprehension of that. You're not going to have it complete because you really can't understand, and it really goes into the second point. I started playing football when I was 10 years old. So 10 years old playing football, and I'd always wanted.
You've got a long career.
I always wanted to play. Always wanted to play football, but again, totally different because I'm playing out on the playground and we're running, and it's not a organized football. It's not pads football. So when I first started practicing, I had to figure out where the pads go, how to put the pads on, all those things that when you're just playing, playing on the playground, you don't know about. But first day
are important.
So the basics. So I go out, my first practice, and they asked me what position do I want to play. Well, I said I want to be a running back. I want to be a running back like Tony Dorsett, running back that looked just like my dad who played with the Dallas Cowboys. Well, they said, no, you're going to be an offensive and defensive lineman. And so.
So how do you deal with that setback?
So the first practice, first and second practice, I was committed to showing them that they were absolutely and completely wrong. They were so wrong. So I was running, I was, everything. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the fastest. I wanted to show them that there was no way that I should not be a running back. But the great thing with football is that if you are willing to put everything out there, you will be sore and hurting, especially the first few days. And so after those first couple of days, I'm at home and I'm like, they're not going to let me be running back. and now I'm questioning. I just started playing, so I'm questioning, is this for me? I'm not going to be able to play, at least at offensive lineman. I had a chance to protect my brother who was the quarterback, but it was completely different than what I expected. So this beginning point of football, it's harder. I'm sore. It is not as fun as I thought it was going to be, and then the position that I'm playing is not. And so for my dad,
reality versus imagination or expectations.
Yeah, so you kind of, until you get into something, you really don't know. I mean, you don't know how difficult it is. I think that's the importance of having a mentor that can walk you through things. It's important, but at a certain point, you have to go in and you have to do it yourself. And especially with something that is physical related, that's a lot harder for someone to really tell you how it's going to feel. They can help you in your training where you're gradually building up, but they're not going to be able to really explain to you that you're going to be sore from every inch of your body. There's going to be a soreness. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. Well, and so my dad, very, very, very simple. If you start something, you finish it. Start something, you finish it.
Where do you find the finish line? When you start something you don't know anything about, where's the finish line? How far do you push yourself?
Which is a very good question. Very good question, because that's where sports they create those finish lines. So that's why I love sports, but they create a finish line where you're going to have a season that you're going to play. So there's a natural finish line. But if you start something, right? I think in a lot of things that there is a point that you have to decide is where is your completion point? Where is that when you're creating your goals, there's short term, there's long term. I think with even in a short term goal, there's a point that you have to get to. And you have to understand where that point is. So he said if you start something, you finish it. I think it was so important because again, if I get knocked off. I got knocked off of what I thought. And without encouragement, I could have very easily said, man, I don't know, this is not for me. But it's in the fight, it's in the push, it is in the understanding, and it's in playing an offensive line and a defensive line, something that after being young, I didn't play again. But while I was playing in the NFL, that made it where I had a deeper understanding of everything that we were doing. I held on to things I learned at 10 years old, at 11 years old, and was able to use them as a 32-year-old playing in the NFL because I had to push through it. And I'm saying that commitment. So you say, where does it come from? It says that it's going to be hard. There's going to be something. I mean, you think, it's not just expecting it to be hard, but you're expecting that if something is worthwhile and there's not a whole bunch of people doing it, that there's going to be obstacles in your way. Now, can you anticipate exactly what those obstacles are? In certain respects, you can, but other ones you're not. Can you really anticipate exactly how you're going to feel? Somewhat. But there's going to be a point where you're down, where you're hurting, and you're going to have to make up your mind, are you willing to continue? And really, again, understanding that if it's worthwhile, if you want to do something different, if you want to do something that's great, there's going to be those moments. And hopefully you have somebody in your life that's going to challenge you to say, you know what? You didn't get into this because it was going to be easy. You didn't get into it because that it was, that everything was going to go right, that you knew that was going to happen. You got into it because the obstacles, the uncertainty are what's going to make you grow. That's what makes the game great.